What's going on, Patriots fans? Welcome into Patriots Today by Chat Sports. On this show, I want to break down some winners and some losers from the 3-day mandatory minicamp for your New England Patriots. I am your host, Allie Barefoot, and I've got about 5 winners and losers I want to get through, and then I got some honorable mentions on the back half of the show. You guys are going to want to stick around for those honorable mentions, because let me tell you, it's going to get a little bit spicy. All right, let me go ahead and tell you guys this like battle that we are in right now with Giants Now by Chat Sports. Giants posted their winners and losers video, and they got 717 likes. We obviously don't know how many likes this video is going to get, but I want to beat the Giants channel. Go on ahead, like this video right now if you guys have not already. Help me beat Giants Now by Chat Sports, and let's go on ahead and get into the first winner of the Patriots Minicamp. You got to remember here, they did not practice on day 2. They only practiced day 1 and day 3, while day 2 was filled with community service throughout the state of Massachusetts. So I want to talk about the 4 quarterbacks and how they're all winners in the mandatory minicamp, despite some of these quarterbacks getting more reps than others. Here's what Jerod Mayo had to say after day 3 of the minicamp on working out 4 quarterbacks heading into training camp later this summer. He said, absolutely. That's how I see it right now. We'll have these conversations as the week progresses, but that's how I see it right now, which has already changed from a few months ago saying that he wants 3 quarterbacks. But now they have 4, and they're trying to divvy up the reps in between these 4 quarterbacks heading into training camp as well. But here are the reps they ran with, mostly in minicamp. QB1, Jacoby Brissett, which we do know Alex Van Pelt is still riding that QB1 pretty hard there, forward to be a starter in this upcoming season. But Drake Maye and Brissett kind of had pretty equal reps here in minicamp, with Bailey Zappe and Joe Milton getting some reps or maybe none at all in some 7-on-7. So it's pretty interesting, and it's pretty clear that Drake Maye and Jacoby Brissett are now entering that QB battle, while Zappe and Milton are entering into that QB battle to see who's going to be QB3. Although I do still think that Brissett and Maye are very inconsistent. I think overall the offense seems pretty inconsistent right now, but that's okay because this is what minicamp is for. This is why you wear your helmet and your shells and you go through the X's and O's without actually putting the full pads on right now. But when I talk about inconsistent, when they go through 11 v 11s, they're still throwing interceptions. They're still not doing well when they have to completely throw the playbook out of the window, scramble, and try to find the open receiver. Number one, the defense looks so great, it's hard to find one of those open receivers, but I'm also not seeing that QB mentality really early right now in minicamp, so that's going to go in the conversation of being inconsistent that I want to watch moving into training camp here. Let me bring out my first loser as well, Tyquan Thornton. Unfortunately, the wide receiver battle is going to be just as hard as the quarterback battle here for the Patriots offense, as they have 12 wide receivers right now. They're trying to get reps in for the mandatory minicamp, but he was not at day 3 of minicamp, the last day. And knowing they only had 1 day to practice, I feel like you at least got to be there for 2 out of the 3 days if you're trying to make this roster. His reasoning for not being at minicamp was not listed, but what he did in day 1, I don't think was good enough to be able to say like, hey, I'm done with day 3, I'm not going to participate. But once again, we don't know why he wasn't there. We don't know if there was a reason why he could not come. But here's what he did in day 1 that makes me a little bit concerned, because now you've got Butte, you've got Rieger, and you've got Thornton, who are now in this wide receiver bubble that if they're not going to be putting their best foot forward, these are kind of on the brink for possibly entering into a practice squad situation, or maybe even that wide receiver 5, possibly a wide receiver 6. But in my opinion, I think Douglas, I think Bourne, I think Baker and Polk are locks. So every other receiver after that has to be putting their best foot forward. And this is what Thornton had to do on day 1 and then missed day 3. The full Tyquan Thornton experience today, he dropped, had a bad route, and then a couple of nice grabs on outs, but it was just a roller coaster coming in from Evan Lazar. So obviously not a lot of consistency going on with Thornton, who was when he was at minicamp. But like I said, if you're in that bubble, I'm going to be working my ass off, because I'm going to talk about one wide receiver that I think is really trying to make this roster in just a few moments. But first things first, I want to hear from you guys. Name 5 receivers on the Patriots that you guys want to see in this regular season. Do you agree with me that Douglas and Bourne and Polk and Baker are locks or no? Go on ahead and drop that down below. Like I said, guys, there's 12 receivers on this team that are fighting for one of those final spots heading into training camp, so it's going to be a storyline worth following. Coming into our third takeaway here, a winner, Mr. Christian Gonzalez. I've been a fan of Gonzalez since he came into the NFL, but obviously getting injured last year, we did not get to see his full potential, but it looks like he is ready to go for the 2024 NFL season. Zach Cox said this after practice. He said, is Christian Gonzalez back to 100%? He said, y'all see me out there? I feel pretty good. Gonzalez said last season that was his first time he'd ever missed a game due to an injury, so he's very happy to be back on the field. I don't blame him, and it also made me feel a little bit more secure knowing that this injury thing is not repetitive for somebody like Christian Gonzalez. I think he is going to be a superstar in the NFL. Jonathan Jones said the exact same thing. Gonzalez has been dominating in the secondary so far, not just in minicamp, but also in OTAs. The PBUs are insane when it comes to Gonzalez's coverage. And just like Jones said, he is predicted to be one of the NFL's best. So he's going to have to stay healthy. And we saw this last year, that when Gonzalez was healthy, you kind of need that extra cornerback to really step up, because then you're going to have a lockdown secondary that I do think I found possibly that player for that position. I'll talk about him in just a minute as well. I got to get to another loser here. Patriots offensive line. This is going to be a struggle all the way up until the regular season, I fear, because right now I just think the offensive line is fluctuating so much that they don't know even who the starting five is, and that is another storyline that I'm going to keep an eye on here, because they're moving so many players around because they have that void at left tackle. But you also just drafted several linemen, defensive and offensive, in the NFL draft. So now they've got to work in those rookies with those veterans, which is why I'm getting a little bit concerned here at the fact that Caden Wallace was drafted to be on that right side, possibly move him over to the left and see how he fits in. But now Onwenu played mostly right guard with Wallace at tackle. I think Onwenu should stay at tackle. I think that's where he's most dominant. And I don't necessarily agree with Wallace getting more reps here at tackle being that rookie. So I'm kind of concerned here, because I thought when Wallace got drafted, he was going to be auditioned pretty much here on that left tackle spot, just switching to the other side. That's where we saw his reps come in when he was being monitored ahead of the NFL draft. But we did see Okorafor get most of those reps there at that left tackle, and he did a good job. He really did. But something that's also interesting in terms of the defensive side is that they weren't putting most of the pressure on that left side. They were really testing the right, where Onwenu and Wallace were. Why can't Caden Wallace play left tackle? There was no answer for that. I'm not sure if he even tried to get any reps over there, but from what I saw, it looked like Wallace was locking down that right tackle spot, mixing in with Onwenu, and Okorafor was just locking down that left tackle. So I'm going to be intrigued to see if Wallace is ever really going to audition. Did they just completely ixnay that plan? Or are they going to go out there and try to get some help there on that left side? Because while Okorafor did well, I don't know if that's going to be a solid answer heading into the regular season. Are you guys worried about the offensive line? Because I am. I love offensive linemen. I think those gentle giants are such an underrated part of this game. And if you're going to eventually put Drake Maye back there, a rookie, it's going to be imperative that you protect him and his blind side. And to still not have a for sure left tackle heading into training camp scares the hell out of me. Type Y for yes, type in for no. And like I said, we are in a like battle right now because the Giants winners and losers video got 717 likes. And the boss has said we can't do that. The boss has said we can't get as high as a Giants video. Pish posh. Like this video. Help us get over 700 while I talk about our last winner here, and then I'll go into some honorable mentions. Remember how I said I want to talk about a wide receiver that's really trying to make this roster? It's going to be Kayshon Boutte. Holy cow. He has made his presence known when it came to minicamp. We saw him shine a little bit in OTAs, but it wasn't enough to really spread him out. But now in minicamp, it looks like Boutte really wants to take that bubble, pop it, and make this final roster coming up towards the regular season. Mark Daniels on what Boutte had to do here was he's having a great day. He just caught 3 passes and 2 touchdowns from Drake Maye in a row. each time he jumped over a cornerback to be able to do this. And I don't know which cornerback, I don't know whether or not he was going up against the first teams, the second teams, or the third teamers, but Booty also had a touchdown from Jacoby Brissett. That is your QB1. This is your possible QB1 who's still working in reps at QB2. He seems to be able to run with whoever is throwing the ball. And like I said, he is trying to fight for a wide receiver spot that's going to be just as competitive as any other position battle out there besides quarterback. So when the minicamp does roll around and you only have day 1 and day 3 to do something, it looks like Booty is trying to get on this final roster, and I'm excited to see what he does in training camp. I definitely want to see what he does in preseason as well. All right, let me go on ahead and tell you guys one more time. Here are my winners and losers. I did have the 4 quarterbacks. Why? Because Jerod Mayo says that he wants to continue working out all 4 quarterbacks. Jacoby Brissett, Drake Maye, Bailey Zappe, and Joe Milton mixing in those reps. A loser, Tyquan Thornton, didn't even come to minicamp on day 3. When he practiced on day 1, wasn't the best. Christian Gonzalez fighting back from an injury, and he looks like he never missed a beat. You got the Patriots line as another loser. A lot of fluctuation. Not sure who that starting 5 is going to be. So that's a big fat question mark heading into training camp later in the summer. And then the last winner here for minicamp was Kayshon Boutte. I think this wide receiver wants to prove why he should be on the Patriots regular season roster coming up this fall. All right, here's some honorable mentions as well. Jaheim Bell. I know we don't talk about tight ends too much here, but I do think that he got several reps in, almost like a wide receiver, where it came a point that I was like, interesting. Late draft pick. Wasn't really sure if they would take a tight end here, but it looks like his hands are making a statement. He looked phenomenal at those back shoulder passes that we know Drake Maye excels at. He was climbing the ladder in order to achieve these things. I saw one play, and it was mainly focused on Drake Maye's skill set here, but he had a nice little no-look pass. But you got to look at the end, the receiving end of that catch, and that was Bell, who's showcasing the sticky hands that he has. I think he's going to be a really good asset to have moving forward here, mixing him in there with Hunter Henry. Another winner is going to be Davon Godchaux. This is tough because I think this is kind of a similar situation to Judon. And we know that he wants to get paid. We know that he is an upwards in his early 30s type of defensive player right now that wants to be able to secure his paycheck heading into the regular season, because in 2024, he'll have a non-guaranteed $7.1 million. So he wants to make sure if he's going to go out there, then there's going to be some money coming into his bank account here, and I don't blame him. But Jerod Mayo wanted to address that, hey, look, when he's here, man, he's here. And he looked like he could be holding in with the Patriots. So he's still going to show up. He's still going to participate. And that's exactly what he did in minicamp, but he wasn't in competitive sessions. So it makes you think, all right, well, Matthew Judon just did that exact same thing for the exact same reason, except he wants to be paid more. But then we got Godchaux, who doesn't even know if he's going to get paid here with that non-guaranteed. So you're going to have to take this storyline, follow it into training camp, and see what's going to happen. But Jerod Mayo pretty much said, that's not on my plate. That's on Elliott Wolf's plate. That's on the front office's plate. So ultimately, Jerod Mayo just has to coach him when he is available. This is going to be a little bit spicy. He's not necessarily a loser. I hate that it's just like winners and losers. I just want to say Jacoby Brissett just didn't stand out to me in OTAs. In minicamp. In OTAs, he looked fine. But when you want to stand out here in your minicamp and you have a very tough position battle going on with Drake Maye, he's still showing me those inconsistencies that I'm not going to like as a QB1, even if he is deemed that. It still doesn't seem like it's going to be enough to push the needle for the Patriots here, because he went 50% in day 3 of minicamp when it came to 11s. He went 9 for 18. He had an interception as well. He's still getting sacked, but I don't necessarily blame him for that. We know the offensive line has a lot of holes in it right now. But he's still not showing me that he is a for sure, ready to go, can help the Patriots win QB1, despite the QB battle that's going on. So I want to see more from Brissett heading into training camp here. I want to make sure that when I look at him, I know that I'm going to get at least 5 wins out of this quarterback, or else that battle is going to be a lot harder than I thought it was. And the last honorable mention I have here is going to be a winner. I want to end on a high note, and I think Alex Austin is going to be that second cornerback that is really going to help the Patriots secondary just flourish this season. They're rotating him right now next to Gonzalez. He's also getting work in there with the Joneses. So I do think that Alex Austin not only shined in OTAs, but in minicamp, the PBUs, the interceptions. It was just beautiful. And if you're getting work in here with a very phenomenal, predicted to be one of the NFL's best cornerbacks, and you're adding another version of him, I think Alex Austin hasn't even touched his ceiling just yet. And like I said, you need another cornerback to stand out this season because we saw what happened with Gonzalez last year, and when he got injured, there wasn't really anybody to fill that void. Even if Alex Austin does end up being slightly behind Gonzalez, I think he has the skill set to be able to rotate in or also help out if Gonzalez does ever happen to re-aggravate an injury or vice versa. Also, if you guys are Boston Celtics fans, well, you're in luck. If you guys can't tell, I have my stepbrothers, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown shirt on. We will be live tonight on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. Myself, producer Smitty. If you want a play-by-play, if you want a fun watch party, if you guys want to see the Boston Celtics possibly go up 3-0, come join us tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, like I said, go ahead and like this video today. We're trying to beat out 717. That starts with you guys on the latest winners and losers video coming out of your New England Patriots minicamp.